In 1925, a small factory was built alongside a river just outside of Minneapolis, Minnesota. It was the Burma Shave Factory. What they produced was small tubes of shaving cream. These small tubes of shaving cream were usually sold by the cash registers and drugstores. And what's the interesting part of it is how they advertised their product. They had a small woodworking area in the factory where they made these small signs. There was usually 5 or 6, and they were placed sequentially along the highway. The signs would tell a small story, and the last sign always said Burma Shave. The jingles that they wrote were actually quite clever. This one read, "He tried to cross as the fast train neared. Death didn't draft him, he volunteered." These signs graced American highways and byways from around 1928 until 1963, when the company was sold and they were technically outlawed by the Highway Beautification Act. Let his whiskers sprout. It's trains, not girls, that he takes out. The hobo. Most were humorous, some were safety reminders. There was over 600 of them produced. The one who drives when he's been drinking depends on you to do his thinking. That one graced Route 66 in Arizona for many years. Every state had them except Nevada. They considered the population too sparse and the road traffic too few, and Massachusetts, who didn't clear the brush off the sides of the roads. So when they did put their little signs up, they were quickly covered by brush and weeds. So they didn't think it was worth their time. South Dakota required that they make them blue and white because it didn't allow red signs along the highway. It is truly sad. They were a part of Americana. I remember them when I was a kid because there was ones that they missed. They had a national campaign to round them all up. But I distinctly remember them when I was a kid on Highway 99 in California. There was some that was missed by the Blitz to remove them. I think people were kind of nostalgic about them. Next, I want to talk about Harley Warwick. He died in 2000 and was buried in Belmont, Ohio, a long-forgotten grave, but he contributed a lot to Americana and the history of roadside advertising. You see, he was a very prolific painter, and I would like to tell you his story right now. For 55 years, Harley Warwick traveled across the United States and painted barns. Not just any barns, they were a part of Americana. The deal he offered was a simple one. He would arrive in a small town and find a suitable barn where he would offer the farmer to completely paint his barn with long-lasting barn paint in exchange for putting advertising on the side for male pouch tobacco. He would also offer a small amount of money. usually $2, which was a lot of money in the late 1920s and 30s in America. He painted over 20,000 of these barns, and they graced every highway and byway in America. The barns were well painted and lasted for years, and he was known to use very good paint, which is why there are so many examples left today. Ohio received the most mail pouch tobacco barns, only because that's where Harley Warwick was from. There was other artists doing the same job, but none approached the 20,000 barns that Harley Warwick painted in his 55-year career. Most of these barns are sitting on back roads now and are largely forgotten. And so is Harley Warwick. There were a few imitators, a few other entities that tried to do the same thing. The two that come immediately to mind is Rock City and Ruby Falls. These barns were painted largely around Tennessee. You see a lot of them in Tennessee. Rock City really isn't anything to write home about, although there is one point at Rock City where they have a plaque where you can see 7 states standing in one spot. It is something to see on a clear day. You can see Tennessee, Kentucky, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Alabama standing in one spot. You still see lots of old barns advertising Ruby Falls in and around the Tennessee area. Ruby Falls is truly an incredible thing to see. It is a waterfall inside a stone mountain. And when you go inside the cavern to see it, they turn off the lights and they have lasers and colored lights inside the falls. It is truly something to see. So, here I sit on a winter's day at Lake Sylvia, thinking about bits of Americana that are passing into history, never to be seen again. Remember, everybody, be good to each other, do good deeds, think good thoughts, and I will see you on the next adventure.